Welcome to the 10-Minute Treasure. My name is Jeff Pospisil, and about a week ago there was an announcement made that the Global Methodist Church will be launching on May 1st. So the Global Methodist Church, that's going to be a new denomination. The United Methodist Church has been working towards a split for the last couple of years, and this Global Methodist Church, that will be the conservative version of the United Methodist Church. So they're going to have a traditional view of marriage and homosexuality, and there'll probably be other differences as well. But anyway, that's where the more conservative churches will likely go to. So, with this announcement, what does that mean for United Methodists, and specifically, what does it mean for United Methodists in the Dakotas? And that's what I want to look into in this video. All right, so I should probably give a little disclaimer before we go too far. These are just my thoughts. So take them for what they're worth. But when people have called me and reached out to me, this is the advice I've given them. And primarily, these have been pastors of churches that are likely to go with the Global Methodist Church. So if that's you, this advice is for you. If it's not, you're basically going to overhear the advice that I've been giving. So first of all, although the church says, the Global Methodist Church says they are launching on May 1st, it's not like they have a genie and poof, everything is going to be in place automatically. I mean, there's so much to do. I think of the ministries that I've helped launch. I mean, there's incorporations, elections of leaders, insurance, getting a location, a headquarters, hiring employees, bank accounts, all that stuff takes time. And I know they have great people that are likely working on this, and but still it takes time. So, and then even once the global denomination gets set up, they're going to have to set up their regional conferences. So there'll have to be a Dakotas conference of the Global Methodist Church set up. So there's a lot to do. So I wouldn't expect on May 1st to say, okay, that day I'm going to leave the UMC and I'm going to join the GMC. That's going to be several more months down the road. I do think too, from what I've heard, is that the Global Methodist Church will give priority to those that have already disaffiliated, and have become independent. So that way they will no longer, though they won't be acting independently anymore. So yeah, don't expect that on May 1st you'll be able to do really anything. There's still so much work to do just to get the denomination up and running. So one of the biggest decisions we have to make is what exactly the separation looks like for our churches in the United Methodist denomination. And I use this Jenga picture because we want it to be orderly so that we don't have just a mess at the end of the day. And the thing that's complicated is that there was a plan for an orderly separation. It was called the protocol that was going to be voted on at the 2020 General Conference. Well, that General Conference was postponed till 2021 and then 2022, and now it's been postponed till 2024. And there's a number of churches that are just not going to be patient anymore, especially now that the Global Methodist Church is launching. They don't have as much of a reason to be patient. And so that means the denomination is not going to have a standardized way for churches to separate. And it's going to be up to every conference to figure that out for themselves. And there's going to be a number of conferences that say, we're all hanging together. We're not going to let any church leave if we can prevent it through 2024 until there's a denominational decision. But there's also going to be a number of them that are going to be a little bit sympathetic to those that know they're going to be Global Methodist in the end and try to facilitate this instead of working against it. So in the Dakotas, we are more on that sympathetic end. And really, what I see is probably two routes for churches to leave the United Methodist denomination. One that we're familiar with, it's paragraph 2553. That's the disaffiliation to become independent. So this is any church that wants to become independent in the Dakotas. We're going to hit you with this one. This is right in the Book of Discipline. So you're going to have to be current on your apportionments plus 1 year of apportionments in advance. So for those of you that don't speak United Methodist, apportionments are our denominational dues, and they're not cheap. There's also a pension liability where it's roughly $70,000 if you're a church that's been served by a full-time pastor and you haven't been sharing them with any other churches. So just to give you an idea of what that'll cost. And then there's also the 10% of the value of the property. So this is expensive because we don't believe that there is a biblical model for churches to be independent. There should be some kind of a system of support and accountability. So that's why this is so onerous. And then the other route, and this one is just coming about, and so this is actually governed by the cabinet, and so we don't know exactly what the rules will be, but it's 2548.2 where you can transfer property to another evangelical denomination. And we don't know exactly what the voting requirements will be. I mean, it could be as little as taking a charge conference vote and it's a simple majority. It could be a super majority. Again, this is going to be somewhat up to the cabinet. And the talk, at least currently, has been that a church would just be responsible for being caught up on their apportionments for the last year or maybe 2 years. So, and again, none of this is set in stone. There'll likely be some resolutions that'll help define this, and the cabinet's already working on this too. Again, we're a little bit more sympathetic to churches that know that they're going to eventually be part of the Global Methodist denomination. So that's the primary issue that we need to nail down. But there's a host of secondary issues, and I listed the 5 that came to my mind, and every conference will have a different list probably, but here's the 5 that in the Dakotas are the most pressing. One is the retiree health benefits. So this happens to be a class of our retirees, and we have a $20 million endowment that funds our retiree health benefits. The question, I guess, is would we still recognize the United Methodist years of service for a pastor that later switches their credentials to the Global Methodist Church? So that's just a question to deal with. We also have a number of endowments connected to or taken care of by the Dakotas Methodist Foundation. And would we extend any of that, such as for seminary scholarships or some of the grants or anything, would we extend that to the Global Methodist denomination in the Dakotas? We have some accumulated funds. This is Thrive, which is our new church fund, but it could be our transitional reserve fund, our trustees fund, or something like that. Would we extend any of these funds to help launch the new Global Methodist denomination in the Dakotas? So again, these are just questions. We have, here's an old picture of our staff. But anyway, would we allow them to reimburse us for the use of some of our staff? Or would we work out a way to share or cooperate on how we provide staffing for each denomination? And then the last one, and I'm just putting camps up here, but also our missionary sites, that would be another good one, is what is our expectations on how both denominations would like to use our camps, because our camps really do serve can serve both of our denominations well, and I think that would be a good thing. All right, so again, if you were calling, I would likely give you these next steps of what to do if you believe your church is going to go with the Global Methodist denomination. And the first one is I would just circle back with my leadership, and I would hope that the majority of the leadership is on the same page. If they're wanting to go right now, that's good to know. If they want to wait and see how the Global Methodist denomination forms and they want to see which churches go, that's fine too. You have some time. I don't think this is going to be a super quick process. It's not going to be like there's a 3-month window. Likely there will be about a 2-year window before something is approved by General Conference. Next thing is keep your district superintendent updated. In the Dakotas, we have awesome district superintendents. They are going to be instrumental in having, if your church wants to go to the Global Methodist denomination, you need them and you need to work well with them. Third thing, gather documents, and I mean gather your governing documents, so articles of incorporation, copies of deeds, if you have documents on trusts or endowments, because one of the things you're going to want to look through is if there's anything like a reversion clause or anything like that that would be messed up if you change something in your articles of incorporation. So you just want to look at that and be aware of anything that might come up by accident. So anyway, and then the fourth one is just stay informed. So if you are solidly leaning towards the Global Methodist Church, you're going to want to figure out who a trusted contact is within your area, and also probably checking out their website and the Wesleyan Covenant Association. They might have information on their website as well. So get on the same page, keep your DS updated, gather documents, and stay informed. That would be the keys that I would give you. Okay, I hope this was helpful to you. And again, the primary reason I want to put this video out is because I have been getting a number of calls and people are trying to make plans. And hopefully now we all have the same advice. If you call me, this is the advice I would have given you. If you thought of calling me and instead you just saw this video, that's cool too. Until next time, God bless.